رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. All praise due to Allah and His praise and blessings and peace be upon our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, his family, his companions, his followers until the day of judgment. I bear witness that Allah is the only one worthy of worship, and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his last and final messenger. Before I start, I just want to say something about the course deception, about the course about the Shaytan. I was one of the basically people who suggested this course. And the reason for that, I was preparing an article or making my own even course about Shaytan. And I went to the Muslim library and I started searching what kind of books that we have that give a depth analysis of Shaytan. Speaking about Shaytan from A to Z. And it looks like Shaytan doing a very good job. I couldn't find a single book in the library talking about a Shaytan from A to Z. I'm not just a mature person. I'm in this field expert in theology. That's what I do. You know, I've been studying theology all my life. So for me to look and to search, even I went to search centers. And I started looking. How many books that we have really? We have books about the tricks of the Shaytan, Madakhil al-Shaytan al-Salihin, very general books related to adab mainly. But something that's studied from a theology perspective and a deep analysis, I was shocked to know that we don't at least have enough materials to be provided for people about Shaytan. And that's why I was so excited and so happy, and I even was hoping, after I did all this research and I made my case, that I would be the one who teaching the class, but unfortunately I'm not. So the one who will be teaching the class is a very special young man. I hope you will visit your community here in Masjid ElFarouq. He's absolutely a fantastic person to listen to. He came already once to Houston, and enough to know how cool and good he is, that his older brother is basically a prominent member of our community, Shaykh Waleed Basyouni, who is also the Imam of Cyprus Masjid. And before that, he used to be very active in Maryam Masjid, and mashallah, may Allah bless this family. So I hope, inshallah, this will be a good event for all of you. Then I would like also to start by thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving me the opportunity, even though Allah knows best how many things are going on these days in my life, but it's always a pleasure to be with my community. And I would like to extend my thanks to the Imam, to the administration. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shower this masjid with His rahmah, with His mercy, with His tawfiq, with the grant this community success, and to make all these good deeds that take place in this masjid and in this center, and their skills on the Day of Judgment. Allahumma ameen. And help us always to stay together, help one another, be a strong community as a Muslim community in Houston. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala خلق الإنسان فركبه. When Allah created human beings, He made human beings made of a combination of things. يا أيها الإنسان ما غرك بربك الكريم الذي خلقك فسواك فعدلك في أي صورة ما شاء ركبك. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that us as human beings are a combination of multiple things put together. So the ulama said it is basically head and limbs and hearts and different systems in your body work together. That's why you're made of multiple things. Others said you are made of a soul and a body. Okay? So you are a combination of multiple things together. Also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to us that the way He created us in the best fashion. لَقَدْ خَلَقَنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. We created you in the best way, in the best format. SubhanAllah. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ وَحَمَلْنَاهُمْ فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ. We have honored the children of Adam and let them carry in the land or in the sea. No other creature, no other creation been carried like human beings. Animals, they don't carry one another. Jinn, they don't carry one another. Angels, they don't carry one another. Allah did not create things to carry them. Allah made us and honor us to be carried. He created for us and facilitated for us so many things that we write and we use just for our comfort. وهو الذي جعل لكم ما في الأرض جميعا من جعل لكم. He made everything in this earth for you. Yani, I just wanted to know how honorable you in Allah's eyes. If you come to my house and you find me that I prepare a huge walima, a huge amount of food, well cooked, and you know what, the dessert table is like $1,000 dessert table worth. Then he puts beautiful furniture. I've brought like the best maid service in the town to take care of the place. You know, the land was mowed. The whole entire house was made to the best of whatever you can think of just for you to walk in. How would you feel? Very special. But I want you to look around you, the heavens and the earth, the stars and the moon, the plants and the flowers, the mountains and the valleys, the beaches and the beautiful earth that you are living in and enjoying it every day in life. هو الذي خلق جعل لكم ما في الأرض جميعا. Everything in this earth was made for you. How special you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's eyes. That's honoring. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honored Bani Adam. That He made the sinless creatures. The one that we use as an example for saying this is like an angel. And He is the best. He made these sinless creatures make sujood to your father, Adam alayhi salam. وَفَضَّلْنَاهُمْ عَلَى كَثِيرٍ مِّمَّنْ خَلَقْنَا تَفْضِيلًا. We have favored children of Adam over so many of what we have created. So, if this is the case, I want you to pause a second and think about yourself as a human being. Think about what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from you, why He did all this for you. What is in return you are going to do? How are you going to face these great blessings and favors that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have given you? How would you deal with it? But the Shaytan, one of the Satan's promises, that he said that he will trick us. He will deviate us. He will block us from seeing all these things that Allah has provided for us and to deny it and to be ungrateful. ثُمَّ لَا تَجِدُ أَكْثَرُهُمْ شَاكِرِينَ. I promise you, Lord, that I will make most of them ungrateful to you. And just think about it. Have you ever thought about the point that I raised earlier? That everything in this earth was made for you. Have you ever thanked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for it? You know, and if you did, how many times? He promised that He will know how to make people deviated from being thankful and grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anyway, going back to this human being that's made of a heart and body. No doubt the heart, with soul, is something so special. We don't have much knowledge of it. يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ قُلِ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّي وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِّنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. You know, you have a little bit of knowledge. And subhanAllah, the more you know, the more you realize you're ignorant. قال العلماء, Hafid ibn Rajab rahimahullah said, when you enter the knowledge, and you enter the first stage, you become arrogant. من دخل في أول العلم تكبر. You enter the second stage, you become humble. تواضع. ومن دخل في الثالث علم أنه جاهل. When you enter the third stage, the final stage, you realize that you're ignorant. Wallah, you realize that you're ignorant. And that's how it is. The more you know, the more you realize you're ignorant. So here you see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us about something inside our body that we don't even have much knowledge about it. And this heart, Abu Hurairah gave it a very beautiful description. He said, Abu Hurairah, Al-Qalb Malikul A'la is the king of the body. The king of the body. Everything follows. Everything follows. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised us something. That in the day of judgment, the way for salvation, the way to save your soul on the day of judgment is only if you come while your heart, your soul is pure. إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. Those who will come in the day of judgment with a pure, clear heart. يَوْمَ لَا يَنْفَعُ مَالٌ وَلَا بَنُونَ. A day when your wealth, your money will not benefit you. إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. Except those who will come with that قلب سلم من الشهوة وسلم من الشبهة. Free of doubts and free of forbidden desires. Forbidden desires. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have made this life a great test for us. Great test for us. Everyone go through this test. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, هو الذي خلق السماوات والأرض في 6 أيام. He's the one who created heavens and earth in 6 days. وكان عرشه على الماء. His throne was above the water. ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. So he will test you. So he will show, not he will know, he will show you and everybody else who's the one who basically will pass in this test. إنا جعلنا ما على الأرض زينة لها لنبلوهم أيهم أحسن عملا الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا ولنبلونكم حتى نعلم المجاهدين منكم والصابرين ونبلو أخباركم. Yes, sir. So many verses that can keep going on and on where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that you will be tested, you will go through tests, you will go through severe tests even, to see and to show who is real and who's fake. Who is real and who's fake. Who will stand his course and who will not. He or she will basically flood. And that's test once, وَنَبْلُوكُمْ بِالْخَيْرِ وَالشَّرِّ فِتْنَةً وَاللَّهُ قَدَّمَ الْخَيْرَ عَلَى الشَّرِّ. He tests you with good and with bad. He tests you with wealth and he tests you with poverty. He tests you with health and tests you with sickness. And don't ever think the hard test is being sick or the hardest test ever to be poor. Sometimes it's much harder to be wealthy, much harder to be healthy, much harder to be giving, not to be prevented. The things to be given to you versus being prevented from having you. You don't know. The point is that, you know what, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, death and life are tests. That's why when I go to give my condolences to someone's father or mother or loved one passed away, I said, you know what, the real test in this death, not about him, it's about you, how you will deal with it. What that means to us. خلق الموت والحياة مش ليبلو الميتين لا ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. How we will respond to that. And human being tried from day one. Adam in the heavens with the tree. His sons in the earth with the test of the qurban, when they sacrificed their animal for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the brother killed his brother. One of the hardest tests that I think, one of the worst tricks, or one of the ultimate goal of the shaitan, is to deceive the human being and to lead them to disobey their Lord. That's why sins are a shaitan's weapon. It is basically a shaitan's tool to pull you towards his direction and his destiny. We know that. And guess what? Allah knows that we are tested with sins. And Allah knows that we're going to make mistakes. And Allah knows that we're going to make sins. SubhanAllah, it's very interesting. Allah knows that we will fail. And we will be knocked down. And we will make these sins and mistakes. Don't think He doesn't know. He knows. He said, في حديث رواه مسلم من حديث أبي ذر قال يا عبادي إنكم تخطئون بالليل والنهار. My servant, I know that you commit sins in the day and in the night. You are exposed to sin any time in the day. This is not something new. كل بني آدم خطاء. Every single human being makes mistakes, commits sins. The point is not this. The point was next. فاستغفروني أغفر لكم. كل بني آدم خطاء وخير الخطائين التواب. The best among those who commit sins, the one who repent quickly to Allah. Allah said, you make sins day and night, so seek my forgiveness, and I will give it to you. So if this is the case, that means we're constantly exposed to sins. وفي حديث في الحديث عند مسلم الإمام أحمد رحمه الله أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من حديث حذيفة قال تعرض الذنوب على القلوب كعرض الحصير عودا عودا، في رواية عودا عودا، يعني كعود الحصير واحد ورا الثاني. Your heart will be exposed to these trials one time يعني after another. فأيما قلب أشرب. If you give in to it and you let these things take over your heart, that's the problem. But if you reject it, if you purify your heart quickly, this is the person who will be saved. This is the person who will be saved. If this is the case, that's the struggle that we have. The struggle that we have. It's been said that Imam Ahmad rahimahullah, upon his death, he was said, say la ilaha illallah. He said, not yet. So his children got scared. What's not yet? Say la ilaha illallah. He said, not yet. Then he said, after that, he said, I saw the shaitan telling me, Ya Ahmad futtani. Ya Ahmad, I missed you. Yani I couldn't deceive you. Then Imam Ahmad said, not yet. Not yet. I don't feel safe here. Until I die. لأن إذا قال الإمام رحمه الله سئل متى يجد الإنسان طعم الراحة؟ قال إذا وضع أول قدم له في الجنة. When would you feel rest and safe? He said, when you've put your first foot in Jannah. Because if you put the first one, the second one coming in. Don't worry. That's the thumb rule in Jannah. When you enter, you never come out. SubhanAllah. So this is what it is. So if this is the case, I thought it would be interesting, so we talk about the shaitan tricks, to learn a little about the sins. To learn about this is his best tool. This is his ultimate goal. And I want to go over some of the points related to sins. So we be very careful from it. You know what? We all commit sins. I do, and everyone else. But let's learn a little bit about it. لأن من أعظم العبادات مجاهدة الشيطان. One of the best act of worship is the struggle against the shaitan. The struggle against the shaitan. One brother was telling me once, he was invited in a fundraising. Like we have here sometimes fundraising. You know, I'm Shaykh Sayyid or myself come donate for the masjid, don't leave without this. So one brother told me, I was in the fundraising and I was thinking, you know what, I want to donate. And the shaitan keep telling me, your kid's going to college, you know, the masjid has so many community members. Blah. I was fighting myself. And finally I said, you know what, I am putting $500 or whatever the amount was, I forgot. So he said, I did that. I had the intention. The fundraising started, I said, I raised my hand, when the time came to come to write the check or to sign the check, I said to myself, Alhamdulillah. You know what, I was able to commit, I did my pledges, I fulfilled my pledge. But while I'm writing it, I remember you, Shaykh Waleed. And he said, I hope it's a good way, in a good way. He said, yes. He said, remember once I did one fundraising and said something, and I did it. You said that one of the things that Allah loves, when He see you beat the shaitan out. You know, when He see you that you are basically defeating the shaitan badly. Then he said, when I was writing a check, instead of 500, I made it, let's say, 1,500. I tripled it. And I said to the shaitan, how's that feel? Allah, he said, I just came out and I said, how's that feel? You know? He's like, I felt like I defeated him. And he said, you don't know how much I felt so good that night. Because I felt I did something good. I defeated him so badly. Not only with the 500, 1,500. So that person realized that it is an act of worship. Just the struggle against the shaitan, it's an act of worship. ولذلك جاء في بعض الآثار وإن كان في كلام على صحة الحديث قال النظرة سهم مسموم من سهام إبليس من تركها مخافتي أبدلته حلاوة يجدها في قلبه. Struggle. It's been narrated that the Prophet ﷺ said that the look that you look to the haram, you look to someone you're not supposed to look at with desire, a desire which is not allowed, a woman that is not halal for you, or a man is not halal for you. You look at them with the forbidden desire. Okay? He said if you see something like that and you move your gaze, from looking at that person haram way, he said Allah will replace you with the sweetness that you find in your heart. Because it's a struggle and pushing back the shaitan. So, first thing I would like everyone to know, أن الذنوب لها نوعان. There's two kinds of sins. There's two kinds of sins. إما الذنب يكون بترك مأمور أو بفعل محظور. Any sin that anyone commit, it is one of two kinds. Either you do something you've been forbidden to do, it's forbidden for you to do this, then you break the law, you do it. Or you leave what is obligated on you to do. Something Allah made it obligated on you to do, and you leave it. So it's by leaving an obligation or doing something forbidden, haram. Any sin that commit, it is one of these two. العلماء debated, الأصوليون تختلفوا من قديم. أهل الأصول, the scholars of the jurists, Muslim jurists, they debated for a very long time which one is worse. Leaving the ma'mur, leaving the obligations, or doing the sins, doing the forbidden. Sorry, both are sins. Or doing the forbidden things. They debate. بعضهم قال إن ترك المأمورات جنسه أعظم من فعل المحظورات. وهذا والله أعلم قول. This opinion is very strong. That they said leaving the obligations is worse than doing the forbidden. Doing the forbidden. Yani if you ask me which one is worse, not praying or drinking alcohol, no doubt not praying is worse, million times. Not fasting or looking at the haram, there is no doubt. Not fasting is worse. If you look at the great obligation in Islam, it is leaving it, it is huge. قال العلماء ولذلك كان ذنب الشيطان أعظم من ذنب آدم. They said the sin of the Satan was worse than Adam. Adam, he did which is forbidden. حرم عليه الله أكل الشجر أكل منها. It was forbidden for him to eat from this tree, he did. But the Shaitan, he left an obligation, an order, a command, prostrate, and he said no. قالوا لأنه ترك مأمور وهو الأمر بالسجود. Anyway, it doesn't matter which side you're going to take in this debate, but just remember that both are ugly, both are wrong. لأن كثير من الناس الذنب في ذهنه فعل المحرم وليس ترك الواجب. Unfortunately, a lot of people think about sins, they think about doing the forbidden, but they don't really see it a big deal of leaving the obligations. They don't see it as a big thing. That's why someone, for example, for him, drinking alcohol, أعوذ بالله, this is the worst thing ever. But he will leave the salah, he will miss the salah. And it will be light for him. It's not a big deal. واحد مثلا يعني يترك بر الوالدين، يترك حسن الخلق، هذه مأمورات في الإسلام. Somebody will not have a good manners, will not be good to his parents, and he take it lightly. He might be so strict and careful when it comes to breaking rules, but making the obligation, he take it lightly. And that's wrong. Both are wrong, and both should be avoided. Number two, الذنوب لها حالتان. إما تكون ظاهرة على الجوارح وإما تكون خفية في القلب. نسأل الله السلامة. The sins have appeared in two formats. One appear in your body, things you do with your limbs, or things that it basically appear in your heart. It's inside your heart. It doesn't appear to the public. And these are so interesting to know about it and to keep your eye about both. And let you know, these sins in the heart are way worse than the thing that you do in public. وذلك قال ابن عباس كلمة تأملوها بذلك. I ask you to think about what Ibn Abbas said. قال إن the thief, when the thief, السارق, اللص, إذا حركت الريح القرام في البيت أو نبح الكلب, when the dog starts barking in the house, or the wind moved the curtain while the thief is stealing, ما يقع في قلبه أعظم مما وقع من يده. يقول ابن عباس. Ibn Abbas said, he said, when a thief goes in the house and he's stealing and he hears a noise, what do we will feel? Scared. You think somebody is awake. You get scared. He said that feeling in the heart worse than the stealing. Why? Because he fears human more than Allah. Because he fears human being more than Allah in this case. He said that's worse. ولذلك جاء في الحديث عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه قال يأتي أناس يوم القيامة بحسنات كجبال كهانة البيضاء. A day, in the day of judgment, people will come with mountains of good deeds, like the size of the Mount of Tihama. فيحيلها الله عز وجل ترابا ليس لها وزن بميزان. Allah, when it will be put in his scale, will have no weight. It became like dust. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم هم الذين إذا اختروا المحارم الله انتهكوها. Those who will by themselves, they will not hesitate to break all the rules. They are a Shaytan, worst enemy in public, but they are his best friends in secret. That's the worst of the people. Be careful from the sins that's in your heart, which is, for example, a shirk billah, doubting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, believing that someone can be associated with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, taking partner with him. To fear human beings, or to fear the dunya, or to fear anything, or to honor and to respect someone more than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam al-Shawkani rahimahullah said something amazing. He said that he witnessed a case where a person was asked to swear by Allah. Okay? Then he said, I swear by Allah this has happened. So he was asked to swear by so and so, some dead saint or famous imam, whatever. He honored him so much. قِلَّ احلف بالحسين actually. He said, swear by the Hussein that this has happened. He said, no, I can't. قال الشوكاني رحمه الله فهذا قد جعل الحسين ندا لله بل أعظم من الله في قلبه. He said, this person have made Imam al-Hussein bigger than Allah in his heart, because he is willing to say Wallahi falsely, but he will never say by al-Hussein falsely. And some people might honor human beings way more than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, fear them, and this is one of the worst sins that you have. Also hypocrisy. What's hypocrisy? It's all about the heart. It's all about the heart, which is one of the worst sins. What is the sin that you can be afraid of more than these sins in the heart? When you have doubt about the Quran, when you have doubt about the Sunnah of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, sometimes wallahi, you hear hadith, you might not understand it clearly. You hear hadith from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you don't understand exactly what this hadith means. You know what's so dangerous about this? That your heart starts doubting Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, doubting Islam, or thinking in Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a negative way. That's dangerous. والله ما خوف الذنوب فإنها لعلى طريق العفو والغفران لكنما أخشى انسلاخ القلب من تحكيم هذا الوحي والقرآن وأيضا بآراء الرجال وخرصها لا كان ذاك بمنة الرحمن. يقول ابن القيم رحمه الله, I'm not worried about the sins. What I'm worried about that one day my heart will not fully submit to Allah and His Messenger. That's what I'm scared of the most. That's why, brothers and sisters, these sins in the heart, hasad, envy, hate, your heart filled with hate, with anger at people, at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, doubt, thinking bad and evil of others. All these things, all these sins, is great sins that you should be very careful. Al-ghish, when your heart is basically giving inside it is not pure. You give one face, but inside you have a completely different face. That's why the Muslim should always care about purifying the heart, making it pure, it's good. Don't ever let the Shaytan control over your heart. Even if you do sins out. But there is a difference between doing the sins and loving the sins. It's a big difference between making the sin and loving the sins. That's a completely different level. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect our hearts. أيضا الذنوب لها سببان لا ثالث له. إما فتنة الشهوات وإما فتنة الشبهات. All sins happen because of two reasons. Number one, الشهوات, desires. Number two, shubuhat, doubts. The doubts target the mind, and the desires target the heart. That's what it is. Every sin you can think of, it will be caused by one of these two. And you know what's the worst? If both happen together. If both happen together. That's the worst. And nothing can save you from the shahawat, the desires, the forbidden desires, except taqwa Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be God conscious. And fearing Him first. And nothing can save you from fitnat al-shubuhat, the doubts, like knowledge. That's based on Quran and Sunnah. العلم الصحيح المبني على القرآن هو الذي يحمي الإنسان من الشبهات. هو الذي يحمي الإنسان من الشبهات. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us about the reason of the nation, why the nation before us gone astray. He said, كالذين من قبلكم كانوا أشد منكم قوة وأكثر أموالا وأولادا. Nations before you, they were much stronger than you, have more wealth, have more children, more followers. فاستمتعوا بخلاقهم. They basically were involved in the desires, fulfilling their desires. فاستمتعتم بخلاقكم. And you did the same thing. You start following your desire. كما استمتع الذين من قبلكم بخلاقهم وخضتم كالذي خاضوا. And you start خضتم هنا يعني خضتم في الشهوات في الشبهات. You start basically arguing. You start raising argument and using false logic to reject the deen. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said the nation before us, they did two things. They follow their desires and they follow their opinions that go, false opinions. I hope it's not even a good logic. The false logic, the false opinions. They followed and they used it to reject the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's what happened to nations later on. They did the same thing exactly. Whatever goes against their desire, they're not going to practice it. And whatever doesn't go according to their mind and logic, they will not take it. فكما قال الإمام الصنعاني رحمه الله, he said, فيكون أحدهم يقول لا إله إلا الله عقلي رسول الله. عقلي هو الذي يدلني على الله ليس رسول الله. One of them would say لا إله إلا الله, but my logic is Allah's messenger to me. So I follow what my logic says, not what Rasulullah said. I don't like it. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm not going to do it. I will make my own sense. I will make my own version of the religion. That's dangerous. That's أَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَاهُ. You've seen someone who have taken his own desires and basically logic as his God that he or she follow. ولذلك كان السلف يقولون احذروا من الناس صنفين. The early Muslim generation used to warn us about two kind of people. صاحب هوى قد فتنه هواه وصاحب دنيا قد أعمته دنياه. A person who following his basically false logic. Just my opinions and that's about it. And he's so arrogant, he doesn't see anything except his own basically opinion. And another person whose dunya have taken him astray. He only takes things and measure things by money, dollars. He doesn't see things the way it is. He only care about worldly matters. احذروا فتنة العالم الفاجر والعابد الجاهل. Be aware of two. As scholars who have no righteousness, as scholars who fajr, who do indecency, who do haram, he follows his desires, and abid, a worshipper, avid worshipper, but he has no knowledge. These two are the worst. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said the best among us, the imams among us, منهم وَجَعَلْنَا مِنْهُمْ أَئِمَّةً يَهْدُونَ بِأَمْرِنَا. We made among them leaders, the best. When what? وَجَعَلْنَا مِنْهُمْ أَئِمَّةً يَهْدُونَ بِأَمْرِنَا لَمَّا صَبَرُوا وَكَانُوا بِآيَاتِنَا يُوقِنُونَ. When they have two qualities, sabr, patience, they reject with it the shahawat, the desires, they control their desires with patience. And the second one, yaqeen, certain, knowledge that they can use to control their mind and their logic. And they basically reject the doubts through the solid knowledge. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about the Prophet, the best among us. واذكر عبادنا إبراهيم إبراهيم وإسحاق ويعقوب. Remember our servants, Ibrahim, Ishaq, Yaqub, أولي الأيدي والأبصار. The one who has two qualities. أولي الأيدي, الأيدي here doesn't mean strength. It comes from the word أيد, والسماء بنيناها بأيد, من الأيد يعني القوة. It means strength. Those who have strength, والأبصار, من البصيرة. They have basically basira, they have the ability to see things the way it is. So they have a strength to reject the desires. And they have clarity that they can see through things, that they have the knowledge that allows them to see things the way it is, which is how you defeat the doubts. And nobody can take you astray. Allah said, وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Then he said, وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ الَّذِي يَدْفَعُ الشُّبْهَةِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ الَّذِي يَدْفَعُ الشَّهْوَةِ. They remind each other to stay the course by what? By two things. Stick to the haqq, to the truth, to the knowledge. So nobody can raise doubts in your mind and heart about the deen. Nobody can take you astray to practice innovations, bid'ah in deen. No bid'ah was ever practiced in Muhammad's religion unless it is because of the lack of knowledge. And no sins and forbidden things happen was practiced unless it is because of the lack of basically patience, sabr, to reject these desires, forbidden desires. طيب. All sins لها داعيان. We're working two together today. Make it twos. كل الذنوب لها داعيان. All the sins basically has it's a loop side. And have basically loop side, just like company. الإفراط أو التفريط. Too extreme. Extreme to that side or to that side. Extreme being too strict or too loose. That's what it is. People always make them because too strict that they make the halal haram, that they what's allowed not allowed. Too strict that يعني بعض الناس من شدة يخليك تطلع تقول ما أبغى عن الدين ولا أبغى كله. لما قال واحد قال في ناس عندهم فقه النكد. فقه النكد means يعني there is people love كده to make people's life difficult. Everything haram, not Allah. It's not because it's haram, يعني. If it's haram, it's haram. But I'm saying there is people so strict that they don't let you يعني, even breathe. That's extreme. And also you have another extreme, which is people so loose, no haram, no haram, everything, it's okay. That's too extreme. And most of the people like that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made us ummah wasat. And if you look to nations around us, you will see in every religion, you will look at the Jewish community, the Christian community, any community around us. Even the Muslim, you will find always these two extremes. Somebody too strict, too loose. That an insan should be very careful with that. Remember, Allah is the most forgiving, but His punishment is the most severe punishment. نبئ عبادي, tell my servant, نبئ عبادي أني أنا الغفور الرحيم. He started that I am the most forgiving, most merciful. وأن عذابي هو العذاب الأليم. But my punishment is the most severe punishment. فيا من غرك بالله الغرور. Those who tempted by Allah's mercy only, wake up. Don't let this dunya deceive you. Don't let this dunya take you away. Don't just rely on, oh, you know what, Allah's mercy is going to... No, Allah's mercy, you have to seek it. You have to ask for it. And Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah said a very interesting example. قال كل الناس يعلم أن الله هو الرزاق كما يعلم أن الله هو الرحمن الرحيم. Everyone knows that Allah is the provider as exactly they know that He is the most forgiving. He said, I never see people rely on being al-Razzaq, the provider, and stay home and say, Khalas, he's al-Razzaq, he's going to provide for me. Everybody do his part, her part, to seek the provision. So Allah provide for it. So why when it comes to Allah's Allah being the provider, we deal with this way. And when it comes to Allah's mercy, we completely deal in a different manners. You have to seek Allah's mercy. You have to take the causes and the thing that lead you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy. Ibn Mas'ud يقول إن المؤمن يرى ذنوبه كالجبل والمنافق يرى ذنوبه كالذباب يقول بها هكذا. The mu'min see his or her sins like the size of the mountain. Only hypocrites see their sins like nothing. What a big deal. الذنوب لها متعلقات. الذنوب has two sides. And pay attention to this. One side related to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. It's between you and Him, nobody else in the middle. As-salat, it's between you and Him. Siyam, fasting, between you and Him, nobody else involved with us. But there is another side of the sins. It has two sides. Some sins has two connections. One related to Allah because Allah ordered you to do it, but it also has to do with other human beings. The other human beings. Being good to your wife, being good to your husband, being good to your children, taking care of your family. You know what? To give nasiha, to give advice. You know, these are things has to do with other people. People have money, rights. So I want you to know that every sin that it is committed, there is two sides to it. One only for Allah, between you and Allah. But other sins are related to human beings, connected to human beings. That's one side. And I'll tell you something. Any sin which is only solely between you and Allah, if it's not the kufr, the shirk, you know what? The kufr and shirk is the worst thing because Allah will never forgive it for you unless He will hold you accountable for it in the day of judgment. But other than anything lower than the kufr and shirk, you know what? There is some way, somehow you can deal with it. The other one is the biggest problem, which is between you and the human beings. Because between you and the human beings, Allah will not just let it go. Allah will ask the human being to take his right from you in the day of judgment. ولذلك جاء عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قبل أن يموت بليال. 5 days before the Prophet died, he came out to the Muslim community and he said, if I ever did anything wrong to any one of you, this is the time. تخيل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقف هذا الموقف العظيم يقول للناس من كان مقتصا من محمد فليقتص قبل أن يأتي يوم ليس فيه درهم ولا دينار. If someone have done wrong to him, this is the time for you to come before the day of judgment comes. Before I die, and there is a day where there is nothing we can settle except through our good deeds. If you ever have abused someone, took someone's rights, accused someone's falsehood, have you ever caused trouble to someone with your tongue, with your heart, with your, did something that wronged other people? That's something you should be very careful about. Because that's a sin that you will be held accountable in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with that person. And it doesn't matter if that person whether Muslim or not Muslim. He will hold you accountable in the day of judgment. والعلماء يقولون حقوق الله مبناها على المسامحة. Allah's rights, Allah forgive him. But حقوق العباد, human beings' rights, مبناها على المشاحة. Human beings are stingy. You hold back. You be careful. كل الذنوب لها دركتان. All the sins has 2 levels. كبائر وصغائر. Majors and minors. وهذا الصحيح من أقوال العلم. بعض العلم لا يرى التفريق بين الذنوب تصنيفها إلى دركات. بعض العلم كتب في هذا كتابة طويلة والصحيح أنها دركات. Some ulama don't distinguish between major and minor. Some ulama refuse that concept. And among Ahlul Sunnah, they said no, all the sin are sin. But to be honest with you, this opinion is not very strong because there is plenty of evidence to show you that sins are levels. الذين يجتنبون كبائر. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said those who avoid the major, the indecency act or sins. And also, the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, يعني أكبر الكبائر, the greatest sins. And so many evidence. That's not the place for this theological debate. But no doubt that there is major and minor. And the worst of all the major sins is shirk billah. To associate other with Allah in any form of worship, or associate other with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in one of His qualities. And let me just a little bit explain what that means. Allah has certain qualities. For example, one of His qualities that He possesses the perfect names and attributes. If you ever think of a human being, has the same quality of Allah, this is shirk. You associate Allah with someone in one of His special qualities. If you ever think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not possess these perfect names and attributes, and you associate Allah with Him and you give it to someone else, again, that's a form of shirk. Number two, one of Allah's special quality is that He is the only one to be worshipped. So you go to a dead person to pray to him, or to sacrifice something for him or her, or you make dua, or all this, the people that you do around shrines and saints and call upon them, that's associating Allah with someone of His creation in one of His special qualities, that He's the only one to be called upon, He's the only one to be worshipped. Number three, one of Allah's special quality, that He is the only creator. He is the real provider, subhanahu wa ta'ala, and sustainer. The one who made us, the one who created us, the one who gives life and death. If you feel or you believe someone else share with Him His lordship, rububiyyati, that's a form of shirk. If you think there is a human being known, the unseen, a creature or a creation, or any one of Allah's creation, control the day of judgment and control the future of humanity, that's a shirk. Which is sins Allah will never forgive in the day of judgment. Person has to be punished for it. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَغْفِرُ أَن يُشْرَكَ بِهِ وَيَغْفِرُ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ مِنَ الذُّنُوبِ لِمَن يَشَاءُ. Also, you have to know that after الشرك بالله, العلماء قالوا كما قال الإمام أحمد رحمه الله لا أعلم بعد قتل النفس شيئا أعظم من الزنا. The worst is to kill an innocent person. Then the worst is to commit adultery after that. And they took this from the verse in Surah Al-Furqan, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَدْعُونَ مَعَ اللَّهِ إِلَهًا آخَرَ وَلَا يَقْتُلُونَ النَّفْسَ الَّتِي حَرَّمَ اللَّهُ إِلَّا بِالْحَقِّ وَلَا يَزْنُونَ. Allahu Akbar. They not commit shirk, they will not kill an innocent soul, and they will not commit adultery. That's why Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam came in the Sahihain, Bukhari Muslim. He was asked, what is the worst sin? قال أن تجعل لله ندا وقد خلقك. You have a partner with Allah and He's the one who created you. Then what, Ya Rasulullah? Then he said, أن تقتل ولدك مخافة إملاق. You kill your son because you fear poverty. Then one, Ya Rasulullah, what, Ya Rasulullah? قال أن تزني بحليلة جارك. To commit zina with your neighbor's wife. قال العلماء, the Prophet ﷺ give the worst scenario in each and every one of these three cases. Doesn't mean the worst sin is to kill children, but not, no. Killing is the second worst thing. Adultery is the third worst thing. But He gives you the worst scenario in killing, to kill your own son. The worst scenario in adultery, to fornicate with your neighbor. The worst scenario in shirk, to make shirk, to associate other than Allah, that you believe in that person, to make dua, which is because it's the highest, it is the most special quality of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to call upon someone else other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I don't have time to go into how evil these three sins are. I hope that it's something we stay away from it. And there's so many other, like drinking alcohol, شهادة الزور and so on. العلماء debated, اختلفوا. كيف نعرف الكبائر؟ How can we know the major sins? العلماء لهم طريقتان. أهل العلم لهم طريقتان. العلماء has two ways in approaching this issue. Some of them by mentioning them. They say بعدها. يعني بعض العلماء أخذ مسلك. He said الكبائر are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And they mentioned them by names. And those group of scholars debated. فمثلا ابن عمر قال الكبائر 7. بس. Ibn Umar has the opinion that major sins are 7. And that's about it. Some others, Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As said 9. When you said, your friend Ibn Umar said 7, he said, no, they are 9. Also, it's been said 70s. طيب? Some said, I looked at, which is very good to quote this, Abu Talib al-Makki rahimahullah said, I looked at the statement of the companions, all the companions. Then I found them agree on the following. They said 4 major sins done by the heart, which is الشرك بالله, to have a shirk Allah with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of His quality. 2, to insist in doing a sin, al-israr al-ma'asiyah. 3, al-qunut min rahmatillah, to give up hope in Allah's mercy. 4, al-amin min makrillah, that you feel safe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never ever, you feel safe from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's plotting against you, or you feel you can have the attitude if you guarantee yourself Jannah. Arrogant. Okay? Then he said, and I found 4 in the tongue. Shahadat al-zur, to say a false testimony against a trusted person or an innocent person. وَقَذْفِ الْمُحْصَنَاتِ الْغَافِلَاتِ, to accuse a trusted woman with adultery. وَالْيَمِينَ الْغَمُوسِ, to make an oath by Allah falsely just to make your business, to promote your business. وَالسِّحْرِ, to make a spell, magic. And I found 3 that people, 3 major sins that is consumed. قال وثلاث في البطن. Drinking alcohol, أكل مال اليتيم, consuming the wealth of the orphans, وأكل الربا, to consuming the interest. واثنتان في الفرج, 2 done by their private part, الزنا واللواط, homosexuality and adultery. قال وواحد في الرجلين, and 1 done by the feet, which is الفرار يوم الزحف, to run in the day where from the battlefield and give your back to the enemy while there's no reason for you to do so. Okay, you betrayed your basically Muslim followers. قال وواحد جمعتهم جميعا. Allah Akbar. He said, and 1, basically, it related to all the above, which is قال عقوق الوالدين, to be back to your parents, to be back to your parents. So that's one direction. The other direction قالوا لا, إنما الكبائر نحدها بتعريف. قالوا الكبائر, we define it by a definition, and this definition, whatever falls under it, if it's 100, if it's 70, if it's 1, it doesn't matter. We focus on what's the definition. So they said the definition, so many definitions, I'm going to share with you because of the lack of the time, and this is not a specialist course or anything like that, but the most famous one, هو ما استوجب, they said any sins that Allah mentioned that such person, such doer of this sin will be cursed, or will be punished with hellfire, or it will cause a punishment, physical punishment in this dunya. Any sin that contain these qualities or these descriptions are considered major sins. All sins has 2 types of punishments. 1, عقوبات الذنوب عقوبتان, شرعية وقدرية. شرعية, it's a punishment prescribed by the Sharia. Prescribed by Sharia. Or the Sharia order us to prescribe to us or tell us how to punish such sin. وهذه لا تخلو من 3. إما حد, وإما كفارة, وإما تعزير في شريعة الإسلام. It is out of 1 of 3. Either had a prescribed punishment that should be applied by the judge, whereas basically by the court, so it's handled by the court. Like for example, a killer will be killed. Somebody killed this person will be executed for that. Capital punishment. So that's something prescribed. Allah prescribes certain punishments that it should be made. Number 2, kafarat, which is something, a penalties that prescribed by the Sharia. You said, Wallahi, I will do this, then you don't do it. There is a penalty prescribed by Sharia, which is, you feed 10 people, or you provide clothes for them. You can't, you fast 3 days. It's a penalty. You do this, you break rules in Hajj. You have to sacrifice an animal, you distribute the meat. It's called kafar. Okay? So this is prescribed by the Sharia penalties. Sin committed. The third, ta'zir, which is something left to the Muslim judge to do, or to the judge to do. A judge found that somebody reckless in his driving, in her driving, he will punish them by 1, 2, 3. And the Sharia ordered us to punish such people. Left it open for the judge to see whatever thing is proper, but there is a punishment required for things that cause damage to others. So that's one. The other side, the thing that you should also care about so much, which is a punishment not prescribed by, not Shari'i prescribed punishment, qadari, which it means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it happen on you. وهذه happen either on the heart, on the body, on the society. Three sides for it. You sin, affect your heart. SubhanAllah. Affect your heart. Turn it to dark. Turn it to anxiety. Even if you don't feel it now, wallahi, it comes to you later on. Wallahi, I have seen people live كما يقول احنا عاش حياته بالطول والعرض. They lived their life the way they want. When they got old, all these sins that they made in the past became a source of sorrow for them. Their heart is so sorry how they did all this. One day they wake up, if they're lucky. So it affects the heart. And what is worse than this? الحسن البصري جاء الرجل قال يا إمام أنت قاعد تقول هذول اللي ما يفعلوا كذا. قال أنا عندي أكثر أموال في البصرة وأكثر أولاد وعندي كل شيء ناجح وصحة ما بيحصل منها. He said, Imam, what do you know about sins and sins? I have the best health, I have a lot of money, I have a lot of kids, a family, I have everything I wish. What is the punishment? قال له الإمام الحسن البصري تقوم الليل تبكي عيناك عند قراءة القرآن يتأثر قلبك بالمواعظ. الإمام الحسن said, do you stand up in the night wishing and looking forward to meet Allah and pray in front of Him? When you hear the Quran, when you hear the موعظة reminder, is your heart moved by that? قال لا. قال كفى بذلك حرمان. What's worse than that? What's worse than that? It could be. So the sins have impact on the heart, have impact on the body. Wallahi, ajib. Impact on the body. You know, look at those who consume alcohol. Look those who do adultery. How Allah punished them in their bodies with diseases. Liver failure, smoking drugs. How all type of diseases, those who fornicate, those who involve in homosexuality. Look just at how the medical community will inform you how the sins lead to the destruction of your own body. And the society. Poverty because of riba. Allah yal'an. A cursed society. Means there's no barakah in the wealth. You know, society turn against each other. You can see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even sometimes destroy the whole community because of the sins that are done by them. When there's no one anymore stand up against it. We end with this by saying there is two ways to erase the sins. كل الذنوب لها كفارتان. التوبة والعمل الصالح. Repentance and good deeds. أتبع السيئة الحسنة تمحها. Follow bad deeds with the good deeds, it will erase it. That's one. Thing number two, repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all the time. Ask Allah's forgiveness all the time. طوبى لمن وجد في صحبته استغفارا كثيرا. Those who always say astaghfirullah will be so lucky in the day of judgment. والذين إذا فعلوا فاحشة أو ظلموا أنفسهم ذكروا الله واستغفروا لذنوبهم ومن يغفر الذنوب إلا الله ولم يصروا على ما فعلوا. Those when they commit a sin, they immediately quickly go back to Allah and repent to Him, and they will never insist on their sins. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يجعلنا وإياكم. May Allah make us among those when we sin, we follow their sins with tawbah, with seeking forgiveness, and to give us strength and ability to defeat our shaitan. learning about his tricks, learning about his tools, learning how to defeat him, learning all these issues that I discussed today. It is part of the ibadah, part of the ilm that allows you and empower you to stay strong in this dunya until you meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with inshallah qalb salim, a pure heart. Again, thank you very much. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.